and welcome to the module of data wrangling with Hi and welcome to the module of data wrangling with Excel. So in this module, the first topic which we'll be studying would be data manipulation with Excel. So data manipulation has all the concepts of tables, cell reference, borders, basic functions, how to name a formula, how to write a data function, sorting data, filtering out data, and if else. So let's start with what the referencing in Excel means. Cell referencing is actually how do we access a particular data out of the Excel. So if we want to access some particular value, we access it through the coordinates or the reference points which we have in Excel. So if we want to check what actually the cell referencing points are, so these, the numbers which are there in the margins, in the left and the top margins, are the labels or the referencing points through which we can access the data. So if you want to access some particular value, like whatever is there in this first cell, you'll just access it by clicking it over here, or else this would be referred as A1. If you want to access some value which is there in B, this position, so you'll just write B1. So if I want to access this 1, 2 and 3 over here, I'll just check whatever is the top axis, that is C, and in the left hand side, that is 5. So this would be C5. Okay, so this is what is called as referencing. So now referencing has particularly 3 types, that would be relative, absolute, and mixed. So what is relative, absolute, and mixed referencing? So by default, the type of referencing used in Excel is relative. Now let's see how relative accessing in Excel is. So say for example, I'll just create a value over here. So if we have defined this particular block as 1, 2 and 3, and again this particular block as 3, 2, 1. So the value at B49 is 1, 2, 3, and the value at 329, the value 329 is present there over at B50. So if I want to add these two values at a block, and I want to have that sum at a particular block, that is C51, which would be having sum of say n number of values, or particularly these two values in this scenario, I'll just write equals to you have to write whenever you are performing any kind of operation, and then I'll refer to this cell. So you can refer to this cell by clicking on control and or by directly clicking over there, just add plus operator, select the other cell, hit enter. So this is how you referred these two values by this reference point B50 and B51, B49 and B51, and stored the sum at C51. So this is how you access it. Now if you want to perform this access in a tabular fashion, you need to define a generalized formula for it. We'll see that. So let's see how the referencing goes into a table. So this particular block is called as a table in Excel. You already have, whenever you load the data set in the form of Excel, you have it as a raw format. Then if you want to give some particular entities as your headings or titles, you need to just hit Control Tab over here by selecting any of the cell. You just need to hit Control Tab. Since this is already in a table format, it won't work over here, but we can like just hit Control Tab and hit OK. It would get converted into a table. So table is an entity using which we can add multiple columns, and you just have to define a formula once in any of the cell, and then it gets generalized. So this is the advantage which we have in table. We'll see that, but before that, let's see how this referencing would work. So like I did previously, I just selected this particular column, and here I just added these two and hit enter. So this is the position I got. So this is the 646, is the sum of 123 and 523. Now if I want to generalize this to the whole table, so that every time this gets added to this and is stored it over here in this particular cell, so what I'll do for this is I'll just click over here and expand this till where I want to have summations. So this is how you just add over it. So you just have to click over here and just expand this. The function which we have written once gets generalized for all the cells. This is relative referencing, where we have not used any kind of operator. It is just the formula, the referencing cells. So now if you want to just write the formula as well, like this position C5, so if I write C5 and then add this position, that would be D5, still you will get the same answer. So you have two methods. You can either type it out or else directly hit Control on the keyboard and select whatever the entries you want to select. Then the generalization works in the very similar manner. Okay. So yes, so now we want to see absolute referencing. So for that, let's have this one value, which is the 10% value of ours, and we want to calculate 10% of all this product's prices. So say for example, if we are having any kind of festival and if we want to perform 10% discount on all the products, so for that we'll need an updated data set which would have 10% values of all the data set. So what we'll do for that is equals to, we'll just write equals to, then select the 10% value, but since we want to perform this 10% value operation on all the operators, so for that we'll need to add a dollar sign before and after the I, that is the variable which we have selected, and then give multiplication operator since we have to calculate the 10%, and select a particular cell. So since this cell belongs to this table, that is why this code is coming over here. But if you want, you can just simply write the reference point of the cell as well, that is C5. So this is the 10% value of our product 1. Now say if you want to apply it to product 2 as well, or all the products in your first row, first column, so you will get it like this. And now you want to calculate 10% of all the product 2 as well. So for expanding this to product 2 as well, you will just have to select this from here, expand it to one more product of product 2, and then just generalize it by taking it till the point you want it in your table. So all of this product 1 column and product 2 column, all the values of this table are the 10% values of this table. This is how, if you want to calculate it with respect to a particular value, that is 0.1, and perform keeping this value constant, if you want to apply it to all the products, you need to add a dollar sign before and after. Now you have third type, that is mixed referencing, in which we change this particular value, and like we have multiple values in it. Like in relative we just had one-on-one values, in absolute we had one value into all the multiple values of the table. So in mixed, what we'll have multiple values over here as well, which would change according to the table. So let's see how this mixed value is working. Now after seeing absolute and relative referencing, let's try to see the third type of referencing, that is mixed referencing. So what is mixed referencing? In this we are having here as well, which would change according to the table. So let's see how this mixed value is working. Now after seeing absolute and relative referencing, let's try to see the third type of referencing, that is mixed referencing. So what is mixed referencing? In this we are having two different set of values which are to be calculated with two different set of discounts. So what was the scenario in absolute referencing? If you might recollect, we had to multiply the whole value with only 10% of the whole data set, right? So we needed to calculate 10% of the product 1 values and product 2 values and store it over here. Now what we'll be doing in mixed referencing is that we have to calculate 10% of all the values as well as 20% of all the values. So we have 0.1 as well as 0.2, that would be your 20%. And since here we have stored only the 10% value out of all these values, right? 10% value of this particular values for each cell. Now what we'll try to do over here, we'll try to check and give 20% discount on all these products price. So now let's take an example that we have a particular situation in which we have two products A and B, and since festival season is coming along, we are trying to giving discount. So we are running a discounted period of 2 days. So whoever is going to come in our shop, we'll be giving the discount on day 1 as 20%, and on day 2 we'll be giving the discount as 10%. So we needed the updated values of 20% and 10%. So for that, what we'll be doing is we will need to write this 10% and 20% over here. So this is like previously we just wrote 10 is equals to 10%. You can directly as well write 20% and 10%. And this is the table, which is the updated table. In this table we want A as our first row, B as our second row, and the first column is day 1 and day 2 is the second column. Now this is the position where 20% discounted price of our product A would be stored. This is the place where 10% price, reduced price of our product A would be stored. So for that, how would be the formula for this? We know that if we want to calculate 20%, so you can either go with by calculating 20% and then removing that value from the whole, or else you could directly try to calculate 80% of the whole value. Now let's try to take the long way and try to calculate first the 20% and then remove the 20% out of the 100% and get the 80% value. Okay, so as to see how the formula is being made. Now what we have done over here is we have selected C28 by normal referencing. So what is this C28? This is the price of first product, that is product A. Now we needed to calculate 80% of this product A. So what we'll do, we'll multiply it by 1 and calculate 20% of it, then subtract it and store it in this position. So that would be 80% of the product, right? 1, that is 1 minus whatever we are getting the ratio of 20% of it into the original value. That would be our 80% value of the product. Now the change or the difference what we should observe over here is that we have this particular dollar sign over here. Now what does this dollar sign does is, now say if I don't write this dollar sign over here and hit enter, I'll get a particular value. Now if I'll expand it, say vertically, what will happen? It won't multiply anything with this 50. So this 50 is coming as it was over here because it is just below this. Nothing is performed. Now but what we wanted 20% of 50 as well to be shown over here. So for that, since we want to perform operation column wise, which we saw over here, since we wanted to perform the operation column wise as well as row wise, for this particular one we use this dollar sign before and after. Now what we'll do over here is we'll try to restrict it to only column wise operation. So we'll use a dollar sign before our C, and here we'll use it after our C, so as to get it row wise and column wise. So this C would be for row wise, that is this 10% selection of this, since we are using this dollar sign after C in C33 referencing, that is our this point. So this would take this value, and in C22 it would take this value after that. So when we'll hit enter over here, we'll just get the same value. Now we'll need to update this, so just drag it over here. You can see that this is the 20% value of 50, and when you will stretch it this to your right, you will get 10% of this 10. And if you will stretch this further south, that is down, you will get 10% of 50 as well. So that is after removing 10% of 50, that would be 45. So this is how you apply marginal referencing. So just to sum up, what was our marginal, relative and absolute referencing? These are the standard referencing techniques when we want to write the formula once and then use all of this to generalize to the whole table. Okay, so here we just wrote the formula once, added this to, and like drag this till the end. So this operation was performed on both A and B. In our absolute referencing, we took 10% value over here, and then we needed to calculate and store 10% value of all the values in product 1 and product 2. So what we did, we selected our point 1, give a dollar sign before and after I, that is the column, and multiplied it to this and then generalized it. Here we use dollar sign before and after I because we wanted to go row wise, column wise and row wise multiplication with point 1. Now here what we will be doing, we wanted to perform column wise operation in this particular table, that is this particular cell. That is why what we did, we took this C dollar sign before C. That is why we are getting column wise operator, and we wanted to perform row wise operation with this particular data. So we took dollar after the C referencing point, and when we hit enter we got the values, and when we tried to generalize it, it came like the 20% discounted price of this particular values are being stored over here, and this is the 10% discounted price of 150, that is 90 and 45 stored over here. Okay, so this was in short your referencing in Excel. So this is how you can like save a lot of time by calculating this values directly by writing the formula only once and then generalizing it to the whole column.